Hi friends, welcome back to Mindorium. Every mind tells a story. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through our minds, right? Most disappears within seconds, but some thoughts stay. They return again and again. They influence how we feel, they shape how we behave, and sometimes they become difficult to let go. Why does this happen? Let's follow the evidence and explore why our minds sometimes become trapped in emotional loops. So let's look into one of the daily happenings that occurs in our lives. Let's imagine that you send a message to your friend. Okay? Minutes passed, hours passed, still no reply. Suddenly, your mind begins asking questions. Did I do something wrong? Or are they upset with me? Before anything has actually happened, your mind has already created a story. Nothing around us had actually changed. The only thing that changed was the way our mind interpreted the situation. That single thought gave rise to an emotion. The emotion produces changes in the body, perhaps a faster heartbeat, or tense muscles, or a feeling of uneasiness. Okay, so those physical sensation influenced our behavior, and our behavior often creates even more thoughts. Before we realize it, we had entered a repeating cycle. This repeating pattern is often described as an emotional loop. To understand why this happens, we need to take a closer look inside one of the most remarkable organs in the human body, that's the brain. In our previous video, we have seen how different parts of the brain, different regions of the brain work together to influence our thoughts and emotion. But for them to work as a team, they need a way to communicate. And so they do this through tiny chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. Imagine two people are standing in a short distance apart. They can't touch each other directly. So one person throws a message to the other. Our brain cells works in a similar way. Like brain cells called neurons, they don't touch each other. They don't actually touch each other. Between them is a tiny gap called synapse. Okay, when a message needs to be sent, the first neuron release tiny chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, and these chemicals travel across the gap and attach to the next neuron. Once the message is received, the neurotransmitters are either broken down or taken back into the first neuron so they can be used again. So, this process happens millions of times every second, allowing us to think, feel, learn, remember, and respond to the world around us. Now, each neurotransmitters have different kinds of message. Dopamine helps with motivation, reward, and learning. Okay, serotonin helps regulate our moods and supports healthy sleep. GABA acts like the brain's natural calming system, helps us relax when things becomes overwhelming. Okay, glutamate helps learn new things and build memories. And together, these tiny messengers help shape how we think. We have just seen how neurotransmitters help brain cells communicate with one another, right? But our body has another communication system. Instead of traveling across tiny gaps between brain cells, hormones travel through the bloodstream. They act like chemical messengers carrying information from one part of the body to another. So, hormones helps regulate many important functions including our emotion, stress response, sleep, energy levels and social bonding. Let's look at a few important examples. There's one hormone called adrenaline is released during exciting or stressful situations. It prepares your body to react quickly by increasing heart rate and making you more alert. Okay. Another one hormone is called as cortisol. Cortisol is often called the body stress hormone. In the right amount, it helps us cope with challenge. But when stress continues for a long time, high cortisol levels can affect both our body and our moods. So oxytocin, it's another hormone that is associated with the trust, connection, and social bonding. It plays an important role in close relationship and caring interactions. Melatonin. Melatonin helps regulate our sleep wake cycle. As it becomes dark outside, our body produces more melatonin, helps us prepare for sleep. Our emotions don't come from a single chemical or one part of the brain. They arise from the interaction of many different factors. Our thoughts, our memories, our past experience, the situation we are in, along with the activity of our brain, neurotransmitters, and hormones. All of these work together to shape how we feel and how we respond. That's why two people can experience the same situation but react in very different ways. Imagine two students receiving the same exam results. One sees it as a challenge and decides to work harder. The other feels discouraged and thinks that I'm not good enough, or I will never reach the high marks. The event is the same, but their thoughts, past experiences, and interpretations are different, leading to different emotional responses. The good news is that although we can't always control what happens to us, we can learn to change how we respond. So, how do we begin to break an emotional loop? There's a good news. And the good news is that emotional loops are not permanent. Okay? While we may not be able to control every thought or emotions that appears, we can learn to respond differently. And for that, the first step is simply to notice what is happening. So, how do you do that? That we do by asking ourselves, what am I thinking right now? The next step is pause. Instead of reacting immediately, even a few seconds can make a difference. Then take a slow, deep breath. This helps calm the body and gives the thinking part of the brain a chance to become more active. Finally, ask yourself, is there another way to look at this situation? Instead of reacting automatically, we can choose a thoughtful response. Breaking an emotional loop does not happen overnight, by the way, but with awareness and practice, it becomes easier. Imagine your friend has not replied your message. Instead of thinking that they are ignoring me, pause and ask, could they simply be busy? That one question can completely change how you feel. Every time we practice responding in a healthier way, something remarkable begins to happen inside our brain. Our brain starts to change. And this ability of the brain to change is called as neuroplasticity. Here is the encouraging part. Okay, our brains are not fixed. They have an amazing ability to change throughout our life. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the scientists call this as neuroplasticity. Every time we practice a new way of thinking or responding, our brain strengthens new neural connections. The more we repeat a healthy habit, the stronger those pathways become. It also happens with the negative thing. Okay, so that's why we create a pattern of thinking over a course of time. So if we have to counteract that, what we have to do is repeat a healthier habit, isn't it? So another one more thing is that I told you already that does not happen overnight. So let's say today I thought, okay, I will start thinking differently. So tomorrow onwards, my whole thinking pattern will be all different. No, that does not happen. But with patience and consistent practice, our brain learns. Just as we strengthen our muscles through exercise and all, we can strengthen healthier patterns in our mind through repeated practices. This is why change is possible at any stage. Okay, imagine we are learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it feels difficult and unfamiliar. We are not used to it, right? But with practice, balance becomes natural. Same way, practicing healthier ways of thinking can gradually become more natural because the brain is learning and adapting. So, what have we learned from this journey? Let's take a moment to bring everything together. Okay. Today, we have taken a journey into the invisible world inside our minds. We learned that emotion does not happen by chance. They are shaped by the way our brain works. The thoughts we have, our memories, the neurotransmitters that plays a role in it, the hormones and the experiences we go through. We also discovered that emotional loops are something many people experience. Okay? Most importantly, we learned that they don't have to control our lives forever. By becoming aware of our thoughts, pausing before reacting, and practicing healthier responses, we can gradually create a new pattern. Of course, and thanks to neuroplasticity, our brain have the remarkable ability to learn and change throughout our lives. So, understanding your emotions does not mean you will never experience fear, sadness, or anger. It only means you'll begin to understand why those emotions arise and how to respond with greater awareness. Sometimes the greatest change does not begin by changing the world around us. It begins by understanding the invisible world within us. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, please consider to share with the friends, whomever you know, who has been trapped into emotional loops or whatever. Also, if you like this video, please like, also subscribe. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep following the evidence, because here at Mindorium, every mind tells a story. So, thank you. See you in the next video.